There's nothing nice about this day in Jones Stadium. Hi everybody, I'm Eddie Clinton. It is cold, it is damp, and it is very windy as a cold front has come through Lubbock. What would make it bright, however, is for the Texas Tech Red Raiders loosening up before the ball game to beat the 15th ranked Texas Longhorns. If they do, it would be the first time in Tech's history that they beat Texas 3 years in a row. So let's see if we can change this arthritic hook 'em horn sign into a guns up, go get 'em Red Raiders on this week's Video Season Ticket.
Winter came early to Jones Stadium in Lubbock on Saturday afternoon. It was cold and wet, but that didn't keep a great crowd from turning out at Jones Stadium to watch the Red Raiders host the Texas Longhorns. And a regional television audience also watching as we go to the action in the first quarter, and the Red Raiders open with the bomb as Jamie Gill finds Rodney Blackshear over the middle, and he takes it in for a 79-yard touchdown just seconds into the first quarter. So let's have another look on the instant replay as you see Blackshear mobbed by his teammates on the sidelines. Perfect timing on the play and a great call by Coach Spike Dykes. And Blackshear knew he was gone as soon as he caught the ball, as he got behind the secondary and raced 79 yards to put the Red Raiders up with the help of the extra point by Lynn Elliott, 7-0, and less than a minute gone by in the opening quarter. A great way for the Red Raiders to start the ball game. Now, as Texas takes over, the Red Raider defense is fired up as Butch Hadnot is stuffed by Mike Licio for a gain of only 1. Then on a third down play, quarterback Pete Gardere is back to pass, but he's sacked by Fred Petty for a loss of 8. And the Red Raiders are really fired up. Now we go to second quarter action with the Raider fans all revved up, the cheerleaders bundled up. Raider Red has lots of company on the sidelines, doesn't he? 7-0, Texas Tech leading. Texas with the ball. Butch Hadnot, though, breaks free at the line of scrimmage, and he picks up 22 yards down the sidelines. A few plays later, it's third down and 6 at the Tech 41. Gardere back to pass. He throws complete to Steve Clark. Ron Ferguson and Charles Rowe make the tackle. On first and 10, Phil Brown on the counter trap gets the call. He picks up 18 yards before Licio and Saul bring him down at the Red Raider 17-yard line. Now later on a 32, Gardere throws to Johnny Walker, but it's incomplete in the end zone. Good coverage by the Red Raiders. On 4th and 2, Butch Hadnot gets the call, but he is stopped by Charles Rowe. And the Red Raiders take over and continue to lead 7-0. On first and 10 at the Texas Tech 12, Jamie Gill rolls right, throws intended for Anthony Manyweather, but it is picked off by Stan Richard of the Longhorns at the Tech 43-yard line. Now, Texas goes to work immediately. First and 10 at the Tech 43. Gardere rolls right, but he's brought down by Mike Licio, and no fumble is ruled. But the replays, if you're watching on TV, I think clearly pointed out that should have been ruled a fumble. Now, Gardere back to pass. It is knocked away by Ferguson right into the hands of John Walker. Let's have another look. So Texas getting 2 big breaks on this drive as the pass right here pops in the air. Walker brings it down for a 14-yard gain. Several plays later, 2nd and 8 at the Tech 17. Gardere back to pass. He throws complete to Keith Cash. Sammy Walker makes the tackle inside the 1-yard line. And Chris Samuels, who was running hard for Texas on Saturday afternoon, takes it in for the TD. 6:55 to go in the quarter. The extra point ties it up 7-7. Now later in the second quarter on first and 10, Gill is back to pass, underthrown for Anthony Stinnett, and Gill, who has been injured so many times this year, suffered a broken hand on the play and was out for the rest of the game. The freshman quarterback Robert Hall in the game throws complete to Rodney Blackshear. It's a 26-yard gain, but the ball is ruled fumbled here, and Texas recovers. But again, it looks like a break went against Texas Tech because the officials very easily could have ruled that he was down here, but instead they ruled a fumble, and Texas got the recovery after the big gain by Texas Tech. So it's now Texas football. First and 10 at the Tech 46. Gardere to pass complete along the sidelines to John Walker for a gain of 9 yards. A few plays later, First and 10 at the Tech 35. Gardner straight back to pass, but Mike Licio and Brad Phelps sack him for a loss of 8 yards as the Texas Tech defense is hanging in there, and you watch it again on the replay. Big loss of 8. Second and 18 now. Texas taking a timeout. Minute 27 seconds to go in the quarter. Gardner over the middle to Kerry Cash, and it's a gain of 25 yards. The drive continues in on a draw play. Hadnot, though, is stuffed by Matt Wingo. Loss of 5 sets up second down 10 at the Tech 18. Gardner looking for Kerry Cash again, and number 19 has got it. He's played so well for so long for the Texas Longhorns. Then later on second and 3, it is second down and goal. Kerry Cash for the touchdown, and Texas leads 14-7 at the half. And it's time now for our halftime feature, a visit with former Tech great Tom Wilson.
Well, yeah, it's a long way from Course Canada to Texas Tech, and of course Tech was just beginning in the Southwest Conference. I think they had 2 seasons prior to my freshman year of 1962. So, you know, they had not enjoyed you know, any success at all in the Southwest Conference, and you know they were pushing and they were weeding out, and there was a lot of so-called opportunity periods and those type of things. I remember my first year, and probably the best thing that ever happened to me, they had so many quarterbacks on the freshman team that they moved me to the JV team to quarterback the JV team. And just so happened that year that Donnie Anderson was ineligible, and Donnie was the tailback that we had. And so our JV team was pretty good. And so I got a lot of good experience during that, you know, freshman year. Lots of snaps anyway. And, learned how to hand the ball off to Donnie Anderson. I remember that. But it was an experience that, well, the first year was very interesting because I didn't really get to play freshman ball, but I learned a lot about football. It was during my junior year when I became the starting quarterback that I changed my major and went into coaching, and then during my senior year, really got involved in offense and learning offense, and really fell in love with it. And of course, I had I guess the luckiest guy in the world to be able to graduate and then join the Texas Tech staff as a coach, a full-time coach, you know, immediately after graduation. Maybe was the best thing that ever happened to me, maybe it was the worst thing that ever happened to me. But at the time, it was the best thing that ever happened to me, and I had some great experiences. Missed out. My life has been kind of in reverse. I spent my early coaching years coaching on the college level, where most people spend it in the high school level, and now that I've had that, well, then now I'm at the high school level, and I've kind of reversed it, and you know, really wouldn't change any of it. I've had a great time.
Final question for you: Texas Tech, the right place for you? Good school? Recommend it?
Oh, guys, I mean, it's. You know, I've got so many fond memories. That, you know, the one thing that you know, about Texas Tech was always the friendliness of it. You know, we never felt like that, you know, we were 300 miles away from home, and I think the people out there made us feel at home. It's always been one of those places. Of course, we always liked the campus. I always thought it was by far the prettiest that we'd ever seen, and just lots of fond memories. You know, and I was so very fortunate to ever get an opportunity to go there, and you know, things happened to work out for me and my family, and of course, when we, you know, left there and I went to A&M and then came back to Texas Tech, you know, those 2 years were great years for me also. So I had nothing but fond memories, and we look forward to going back and you know, seeing our daughter out there, and you know, visiting with Jess Stiles and some of our good friends, and so it'll always be like a second home to us.
We get back to the action now. Texas leading 14-7, and the rain continuing to fall and the temperature continuing to drop at Jones Stadium. On first and 10 for the Tech 42, Phil Brown fumbles the ball, and it's recovered by Tracy Saul of Texas Tech. Let's have another look on a replay here. There is the loose football, and the Red Raiders alertly come up with it, trailing by only 7 points. Now let's see what Tech can do with the ball. Robert Hall throws complete to Rodney Blackshear. It's a 12-yard completion. First and 10 at the Tech 41. Hall back to pass. It's underthrown for Rodney Blackshear, but Blackshear compensates, comes back, and makes the catch for a gain of 21 yards. Ball carries down to the Texas 39-yard line. 2 plays later, second and 10. Hall rolling right, throws for Anthony Manyweather, and this is a 23-yard completion. Let's have another look at this one from the ground level as Hall hooks up beautifully with Anthony Manyweather. It's a 23-yard gain down to the Texas 15. But the Texas defense gets tough, and Lynn Elliott has to come in and try a 35-yard field goal. He's got it, and Texas' lead is trimmed to 4 at 14-10 with 10:22 left to play in the third quarter. What can Texas do next time they have the ball? Well, they get a drive started here as Gardere goes to Kerry Cash, number 19. That is a 12-yard gain. First and 10 for Texas. And Chris Samuels on the counter trap gains a big 12 yards. 2 plays later, Butch Hadnot, whose cousin James Hadnot was a great player at Texas Tech a number of years ago. Sammy Walker makes a tackle after a gain of 13 yards. Now inside the 20. Witherspoon coming up with a big stop on Samuels. A couple of plays later, after Texas timeout, Gardere is back to pass. Incomplete on third down, so Mike Pollock has to try a 42-yard field goal. It's good, and Texas has regained a 7-point lead at 17-10. After the kickoff, Don Marshall, former sprint champion out of Grand Prairie, takes it around the left side for a gain of 10 yards. A few plays later, though, on third down and 2, quarterback Robert Hall rolling right, trying to pick up those 2 tough yards, but he can't get it. Anthony Curl tackles him for a loss of 1. So the Red Raiders punt. Texas ball now. Pete Gardere rolling out, finds Keith Cash for a 24-yard gain. Later on a third down and 3 at the Texas Tech 31-yard line. Hadnot will take the pitch. Boy, Gardere was really belted. And Hadnot gains 11 yards. Sammy Walker makes the tackle. First and goal from the 9-yard line. Samuel stringing it out along the line of scrimmage, but tackled beautifully by Fred Petty. Look at this pursuit by the Texas Tech defense as they stop the ball carrier Samuels. So now finally on 4th and 6, once again Texas has to settle for a field goal. Pollock boots it good, and now the Longhorns lead by 10, 20-10, 2:03 left to play in the quarter. So Texas Tech still with a chance to win this football game. We go to fourth quarter action now on a second down and 10. Robert Hall is back to throw, but it is picked off by Boone Powell at the Texas Tech 26, and he runs it in for the touchdown. The extra point is good, and this was a very, very big play in the game with 13:57 to go, and Texas now leading by 17 points. Texas Tech trying to rally on a second and 10. Robert Hall to pass. He throws for Byron Hooper along the right sideline. Good for a gain of 25 yards. A couple of plays later, second down play at the Texas 35. Hall rolls left looking for Anthony Stinnett. Stinnett has got it for a 16-yard gain. Here's another look at it on the ground level replay. Hall, with that outstanding mobility, he's going to be a good quarterback for Texas Tech in the future, completing the 16-yard pass. Now it's first and 10 at the Texas 19. Hall over the middle to Lewis Sheffield. Sheffield picks up 9 yards. This has been an effective play the last couple of games for Coach Spike Dykes. Second and 1. Hall, this time though, sacked by Boone Powell. It's a loss of 14 yards. So the Red Raiders lose the momentum. They have to settle for an Elliott field goal try. It's blocked by Texas as the Longhorns come up with a big defensive play. Now Texas with the ball again. Butch Hadnot tries the middle. Mike Licio drops him for a loss of 2 as the Red Raiders defense just won't give up. And we watch this one again. Gang tackling led by Licio. Second down, 12 yards to go. Gardere is back to pass, but here comes Licio again as Gardere cannot get away from the intense pass rush. He loses 5 yards. Later on fourth down and 10, Texas back to punt. Alex Waits punts to Saul, but it's blocked. Blocked by Stephon Witherspoon and returned for a touchdown by Scotty Allen from 10 yards out. A very big play by the Red Raiders. Here it is on the replay. The ball very clearly blocked by Witherspoon, and it is a Texas Tech touchdown. Still 8:51 left in the game, and Texas leading by 11 as the Red Raiders just simply will not give up. Texas on their next possession. As you see, still lots of time left in the ball game. Texas leading 27-16. It's a third down and 8. Gardere's back to pass, throws over the middle, but there's big number 19 again, the big target, Kerry Cash, as Tracy Saul brings him down after a gain of 27. Later on a 31, Phil Brown off left tackle. Matt Wingo and Washington stop him for no gain. So Texas Tech takes over. Second down play now. And Hall throwing for Sears, intercepted and returned for the touchdown by Lance Gunn. With still 5:54 left in the game, Texas leading 34-16. and the Red Raiders come back. 1st and 10 at their 45. Hall scrambles upfield and turns this into a big gain of 26 yards. So he takes it inside the Texas 20-yard line. On the replay, you see the scrambling ability of the freshman redshirt quarterback Robert Hall out of Dallas Carter High School. Gain of 26 yards. Red Raiders trying to get on the scoreboard again. A couple of plays later, in the Texas 17, Hall to pass. On the right sideline, Anthony Manyweather. Cavanis makes the tackle after a gain of 10. On the very next play, 1st and goal from the 7. Sheffield powers his way down to the 1-yard line. Then on 2nd down and goal from the 1, quarterback Robert Hall takes it in for the touchdown, and this brings the score to 34-22. The Red Raiders then lined up to try an onside kick, but as you'll see, Kerry Cash pulls it down out of the air. Texas goes on to score one more time to wrap it up, 41-22. And after the game, we talked to the Red Raider players in the locker room.
Well, we all play together. It's offense and defense together. When the offense messes up, the defense with them. It doesn't matter which way it goes. We're behind them all the way. And we should have made some plays when we didn't, so that really, and they're behind us whenever we don't make the plays.
It seemed like the air went out of the team when Jamie went down. Did you see that as a case or not?
I don't think we did. You know, Robert's done a great job, but, you know, anytime you lose a guy like Jamie, a quarterback like Jamie knows what he's doing and stuff, you know, you kind of start to wonder a little bit. But, you know, we got to keep our heads up and we got to keep playing, because if you let something like that bother you, you know, then you're not going to ever win.
Oh, there were some shots out there, but this is a physical football game. You know, Texas, they got a great defense, and they made some big plays, and they took some good shots, but they were all clean.
The biggest adjustment from junior college to Division I ball, I have to work harder. I have to use my mind more. It's more a mental thing. When you get tired, you have to keep going, and you know that's the biggest thing for me. Coming from junior college to Division I ball.
Was this your best game today? You looked really good, especially in the first half.
Yeah, I feel this. You know, this is one of my best games. I feel all season I've been playing well. You know, being a partial starter. You know, I feel I've played as a starter and helped the team. You know, as planned. You know, so this was a good game for me.
Thank you.
We knew they were going to, you know, bring a lot of heat, you know, this week, and you know, that's what they were doing in the early part of the game, and audible a couple times, and you know, that play, I felt Rodney was one-on-one on the backside, and I checked an audible to him, and you know, I got great protection from the line, and he made a great route, and I just had to throw the ball.
Little deja vu of last year once you took that in.
Yeah, it was, you know, it was good to get out of the blocks like that with a big score, but, you know, we felt like we were in it, especially in the first half. We had the confidence and, you know, moving the ball on them successfully, and it was just, you know, very frustrating to lose this one.
Having a great defense like they do, doesn't that realistically hurt Tech when you go out with your experience?
I don't know about that. You know, Robert's done a great job for us this year. And, you know, they do have a very good defense. You've got to give a lot of credit to them. They've got great athletes, and they work together, you know, really well as a unit. And, you know, like I said, just give a lot of credit to them and their staff.
Speaking of the Cash brothers, looks like especially number 19 just ran free out there most of the day. How was he getting open?
Pushing off. It's simple. That's all he did, push off. He's 6'5", he pushes off on a little DB or a short linebacker, and he's going to get open.
Did they do anything you didn't expect out there today?
No, they didn't do anything we didn't expect. I mean, we just went out there, tried to get a victory, and just came up short.
You played the 8th team in the nation last week, the 13th team in the nation this week. Was there any comparison?
Nah. Yeah, that's a big. Miami has a lot more team speed than Texas does, and I mean, Texas is a good team. I mean, they showed it out there today, and you know, we just going looking forward to TCU next week.
It's been a great year for you. I know they announced you've broken a couple of Donnie Anderson's records. It's been a nice year for you.
Yeah, I mean, you know, that stuff is good to have, but, you know, it's good to have after the season's over. Right now, you know, I can't feel any pleasure in having them because we haven't been winning the games.
Mm-hmm.
got 14 student trainers, and I've got 2 full-time assistants, Jeff Bass and Kim Broderick. And first thing we do is at 6:30 in the morning, if you were injured, you're expected to come into the training room and get treated. We do such things as whirlpool, we do such things as massage, such things as ultrasound therapy, exercises to help both prevent and treat an injury once it occurs. And then they'll come back in between classes and get more treatment. And then about 1 o'clock every day we start taping for practice. Everybody gets their ankles taped. Other people may need to get their knees taped or other anatomical parts fitted with other bracing or other devices to help prevent injuries from occurring while they're on the game field. We are involved if someone has surgery. We're the ones that follow up with them on checking them out, being sure that their strengths are back to normal before we allow them back into practice or game situation. This would include using our Cybex machine to measure the different strengths of the different muscle and body parts. It's become very scientific from when I first got into the profession. We work very closely with Joe Jurassic and his staff. Joe does a tremendous job. This is the thing that the strength and conditioning part of our program, if the kids have really done a good job there, it really minimizes the amount of work we have to do. We're very fortunate. We end up having about 100 applicants a year of kids that are interested in going into athletic training. We're only able to take 2 or 3 kids a year. We just, number one, if I get many more kids in that, I can't keep them busy enough, and they aren't able to gain the experiences they need to gain. This past year I did take 4 kids. We took 2 girls and 2 guys. We are co-ed totally, and the guys take care of the girls and vice versa, and we take care of all men's and women's sports, so we're not limited just to taking care of football.
They say from small acorns grow giant trees, and that might be a good parable when you consider the Texas Tech Medical School. Back in the early 1970s, Texas Tech hired 3 or 4 key people, and they housed them here in what was then Thompson Hall. It's now the bursar's office. We used to laugh at that point in time, saying that this was the Texas Tech Medical School in a closet. It was that small, and it was just beginning to grow. But that was the early 1970s. This is 1990. And in 1990, that little acorn has grown into this. The Texas Tech Medical School, a full campus. It literally is a city unto itself. I recently talked with Dr. Ted Hartman about those humble beginnings in Thompson Hall and what the school has become.
Well, the medical school itself was opened in 1971. We operated out of Drain Hall on the main campus, which had been a dormitory, and also out of Thompson Hall for some years until our building could be built. We moved into our present building in 1978. This building is unfinished on the interior in some areas because we were anxious to get sufficient space to begin with, and so we still have shelled-in areas in the building which will allow us to expand as we need to. There are 3 acres on each floor, and there's a basement and 5 floors to the building. Well, our real thrust for this medical school is primary care, and within that group, especially family medicine. The physicians who will be practicing in the small communities out through, particular out through West Texas, but actually many of our graduates are all through the state, go to the small towns, and they are generally family practitioners and not into any of the subspecialty areas. We're concentrating very much on healthcare in West Texas. The school has 4 campuses, the one here in Lubbock on the campus of the Texas Tech University, and then we have a regional academic health center in Amarillo, we have a regional academic health center in Odessa, and we have a regional academic health center in El Paso. At all of our centers, we have residents doing specialty training. That is, they've graduated from medical school and then they're in the specialty training. However, we send the junior and senior students only to Amarillo, Lubbock, and El Paso.
Talk to me about MedNet. What I've heard about it today really is incredible. It's kind of a Star Wars concept, and I know you're awfully proud of it.
MedNet is a concept initially which gradually took shape as we realized that the hospitals in the small rural communities were beginning to go through a period of great instability. And our idea was that if we could provide communications to those hospitals of various types, we might be able to help stabilize those hospitals.
Jamie's got the experience, and he's been there before, and he can handle it. He can handle the good or the bad or whatever, and it puts a lot of heat on a guy like Robert. They also now you can see those defensive linemen, they're lining up most sprinter stances, and they know it's going to be a pass, and you're not running too well, and you're behind now, and so all those things, the combination of all those things makes you really wonder. You come out in the third quarter, you're going to start facing the stiff breeze, and you just got scored on right before the half, and so those things what we talked about today, but we came back and did pretty good.
Did it really surprise you? I know it did me. You were 7-7 and you got the win in the second quarter and then really did nothing with it. Did that surprise you?
Yeah, it really did surprise us. We had 2 interceptions in the second quarter, and that hurts bad. It really does, because of the fact that not only did we not do anything with it, we really didn't have very good field position. And we never gave it a chance to work field position-wise. And consequently, we were just sort of, I guess we were just not very good with the wind. The situation didn't work out like we'd hoped for it to.
On the plus side, Rodney Blackshear broke a couple of career records by a pretty fair country player named Donnie Anderson. He's had a nice season. Yes,
Rodney has. Rodney's made a lot of big plays, I'll tell you. He's a catalyst. He's a guy that gets things going. We had a turnover with him after a nice catch and run, and boy, it's close, I'm telling you. And those kind of things are, it's just that close from being on the ground before it happened or whatever. And that's sort of where you are sometimes. You can't win for losing. But I tell you, Eddie, this football team is, and we're not a real good team. I don't mean that. But, boy, they got a lot of fight. They've got a lot of spunk. And this loss hurt them because they prepared. They bounced back after the Notre Dame deal. After the Miami deal last week, and responded with a great week of practice. They really went into this game, and they felt good about our chances of winning. They felt like they had a real bona fide chance to win the game, and we did. And they played that way. I'm just sorry it didn't work out for them.
You had me worried. I thought you had Notre Dame on this year's schedule with everybody else there for a minute, but looking forward to TCU, I guess.
Yep, yeah, I think I was asked a while ago, said, well, you'll have a hard time getting them up for TCU, and we won't. This bunch is, they're special. They really are. They'll play good next week. I believe they will. And I tell you, they're better because TCU, they'll grind our corn if we don't, because they can play football, and they're doing well. And it's just one of those things. It's just sometimes you just can't win for losing, and it just drives you crazy. Losing's not a lot of fun, and we get right up on the lip of the cup. We get right up close, and this is one of those situations. Just nothing is working out like we'd like for it to, and that gets frustrating sometimes. And I think our kids sense that, but I really believe that, in answer to what you asked about, that I think they'll respond favorably and positively, and I think that they understand that we're going to play good against TCU in order to have a chance to win.
Nevertheless, I'll see you next week.
We'll see you there, Eddie. Thank you.